Top of the morning folks, today from the Reddit Rainforest. My cousin just purchased 2 kegs of non-alcoholic beer for his younger brother. So we're going to sit back and watch high school teenagers act drunk and make fools of themselves with non-alcoholic beers. Do you gave any similar stories? I was at a convention room party where people were drinking. Had a straight-laced guy who claimed to have never drank in his life in the room as well. Everyone else is tipsy and laughing and generally having a good time. And the straight-laced guy decides screw it, he wants a drink. Well, he had always made a big deal about the rest of this group drinking, always saying it was stupid and whatnot. So the guy mixing the drinks said he'd make him a Long Island iced tea. Apparently he mixed a whole bunch of mixes together with some plain iced tea to throw the taste off and handed it over to the guy. Guy proceeds to drink the whole thing and well not you know it. He got so drunk and was acting like a stereotypical sloshed person on a sitcom, jumping around and slurring his speech. Told him it wasn't an alcoholic about an hour later. He turned so red I thought he was gonna pass out. Some girls in a nearby school sold boys naked people they made of themselves in exchange for marijuana. The boys gave them grass clippings. Not only did they not get high, they got expelled, and the story made it to the front of the newspaper. Not the school newspaper, the newspaper. My already drunk cousin took a shot of water and made that was the strongest drink ever face. Priceless. 3 friends of mine in high school decided to trip on cough syrup. They each drank 2 bottles of the malarkey and wait for everything to start. We were at a house with no parents and a pool. About 45 minutes later 2 of them start tripping and the third one says it has not kicked in yet. The 2 that are tripping decide that a swim is in order. It's summer so why not? We all get in the pool, but one of them decides to go in naked. The naked guy tries convincing the other one tripping to get naked because the water feels so much better. He hesitates and says he does not want anyone to see his small dick. Naked guy was not packing much so says, mine's smaller just get naked. Only guys at the house by the way. So the 2 tripping guys argue for about 10 minutes about who has the smaller dick when the third guy says I still do not feel anything from this tussin. I decide to get out of the pool and find the empty bottles. I look at the back and lo and behold they bought the wrong couch syrup. I laugh for a while the 2 tripping guys hide their shame. To sum it up, friends trip on cough syrup and argue over whose dick is smaller. Back in high school we did this. Just a 6-pack with some girls. After a few non-alcoholic drinks they got all tipsy and acted drunk ... Even in that I'm drunk ... Kiss me ... sort of way. It was an eye-opening experience to realize how much their expectations colored their reactions. I sincerely believe they thought they were drunk. Placebo effect. Give someone something. Tell them it makes them do this. And they'll believe it and act accordingly. It's the same psychology that goes into a lot of bull malarkey pills that people make. Edit. And yes, it actually works. People do it in studies all the time. It's why when people get drunk or high the first time, they go way overboard with it after having just a few beers. People do it in studies all the time. They get socially awkward people, give them beer and they'll become party animals. I'm going to do it to my friends someday. Got my younger cousin high with a joint full of basil. She acted high, but said it was not something she was into after that. As a reverse to your story, my coworker fed herself and her daughter weed thinking it was oregano. Apparently my coworker's roommate thought nobody really eats oregano. That's a strange one. Was there fallout? Did they get high on pot spaghetti? Haha, it was for spaghetti. My coworker never knew until the roommate saw her use some. He got really mad at her for stealing his weed and told her to pay him back. I was at a party once and there was this foreign exchange French girl. We were all 16 or 17, but for some reason she was only 14. She was desperate to get drunk and drank an entire bottle of mixer. She was wasted for the entire night. Since she spoke only French we had no idea how to communicate that it was not alcoholic being that the person she was staying with was passed out. Haha. AWW. We gave my little sister, I believe she was turning 11, a movie star birthday party one year. It basically amounted to renting a popcorn machine and setting out chairs on the lawn, borrowing a projector, and playing a movie outside for them. I took their tickets and guided them to their seats. We gave them sparkling apple cider in plastic champagne glasses. Most were really too young to really understand what drunk meant, but a few felt the need to get overly giggling and it spread to the group at large. An 11-year-old's idea of drunk is to go into fits of laughter. It was kinda cute. Really, I was glad they weren't not falling over themselves. I'd be kinda worried for my sister's friends. They ought to have known it was non-alcoholic. But it now. That sort of juice tastes funny to kidlings. We always got this at my grandma's house when visiting her and my dad's brother and my cousins. They'd even pour it in the same fancy red glassware the grown-ups used for sherry. We definitely pretended to be drunk off of it. And later we all turned out to be big drinkers. Now that I think about it. I have had this story lined up for a few years now. Back when I was in the military, and we were hard drinkers, we would go to this bar called Pints and Quarts. Beer came two ways, by the pint or the quart. Also, the origin of the phrase mind your P's and Q's. At any rate, one of the soldiers in our barracks had recently had a DUI, so there was a big crackdown on drinking and driving, and it was my turn to be DT for the night. So a few of us go to the bar, and it's the first bar I'd been to that served Thomas Kemper's root beer. By the quart, no less. On tap instead of just getting bottles. So I'm like, duck yeah, and instead of drinking Coke or water all night I'm drinking root beer. One of the new soldiers to the barracks comes out with us and sees that I'm drinking a dark beverage. He asks what I'm drinking, and I say Thomas Kemper's. He goes HRMM. I have never had it. Is it any good? Now, I do not realize that he does not know it's root beer. So I say yeah, it's delicious. Have a sip. So he takes a drink, likes it, and spends the rest of the night drinking Thomas Kemper's root beer. Well, we're there for about 4 hours, and at the end of the night he is doing that slobbering drunk routine, hanging on me and everyone going, man, Sergeant Nick DNGR, I do not know how you do it, man. You must have an alcohol tolerance like a ducking camel. I drank just as many Thomas Kempers as you, and am crawling here. You're walking straight and driving us all home. Damn man, you're a good Sarge, and has really hamming this drunk act up. So finally, after a few minutes of this, I'm like, dude, all you drank was Thomas Kempers? And he says yeah, I had like 6 or 7 quarts. I tell him, dude, Thomas Kempers is root beer. You cannot get drunk off of it. So for the next few months, up until I left for my next deployment, we called him Thomas Kempers. Back in high school, I had a friend who we'll refer to as Nick. He was a nice guy who was usually very polite and caring, but whenever the subject of drugs came up, he'd turn into the most ridiculous caricature of a gangbanger that I'd ever seen. Now, Nick was an upper middle class kid who had never so much as tasted alcohol, much less partaken in anything more noxious. And every one of his friends knew it. Even people he was meeting for the first time could tell that his stories of drug-fueled misadventures were completely fabricated. That's why it seemed appropriate, when April Fool's Day came around, to play a simple prank on him. The setup was pretty simple. One of our friends accidentally spilled Nick's soda, and as a way of apologizing, offered him a small bag of what was ostensibly marijuana. Nick's eyes went wide, and he accepted the bag with a trembling hand. Is this ... Is this what I think it is? He asked. Our friend nodded. It's 100% pure grass. I can still remember the way Nick swallowed nervously, his eyes darting around in search of any onlookers. I'm going to go smoke this right now, he declared. Without waiting for an answer, he stood up and ran out of sight. Even then, I do not think any of us were convinced that he would actually try to imbibe the stuff. In fact, we were reasonably sure that he would just throw it away when he thought nobody was looking. Still, about 5 minutes later, Nick came staggering back, acting as though he was thoroughly inebriated. Oh man, guys, he squealed, his voice in a high falsetto. That stuff was so strong. I'm going to be high for days. We let him continue with the act for several more minutes, until finally we got sick of the high-pitched tone he was affecting. Dude, our friend said to Nick, it was just grass. Yeah, I know, Nick replied. It got me so ducked up that no, dude, it was grass, as in, lawn clippings. An expression of dawning horror played its way across Nick's face. He realized that he'd been caught ... and then decided that the best course of action was to keep up the act. Well, I do not know what sort of pesticide was on your lawn, but it got me so ducked up. Nick kept up the act for several more minutes, until the marijuana mysteriously wore off. Sadly, he still pretended to be a voracious drug user, even after having been called out ... But it did lead to a few more amusing stories, like the time we gave him acid. Back during my senior year of high school, my friends decided to go get malarkey faced at a party that ending up getting busted by the police. The police officers made everyone sit around in a big circle and submit to a breathalyzer. Everyone had been drinking, and everyone was assuredly getting an MIP. Well, that is to say ... almost everyone. Lo behold, that one girl who had been seemingly drunk as duck ... in front of everyone, blows a goddamn .00. Free to leave. Not but 15 minutes before the cops came knocking. This bitch was jumping fully clothed into the pool, and afterwards running around trying to strip naked while simultaneously professing her love and drunkenness to anyone and everything. Microwave and armchairs included. Best part is, she came with a friend who had actually been drinking. So she ends up having to call her dad because she lives 20 miles away and she is still soaking wet from when she jumped into the pool. To sum it up, quasi drunk girl makes fool out of herself and jumps into a pool at underage party. Professes love to LZ boy. Cops then immediately bust the place and round robin breathalyzer everyone. She blows a .00 in front of everyone. Still soaking wet from 15 minutes earlier and is forced to call her dad to pick her up. Message from the Rainforest. This malarkey takes forever to edit. If you are enjoying the video, smash that like button and subscribe if you have not already. I have a story I assume you would like. I'm a youth leader for a bunch of 7th graders at my church. At the beginning of the year we have a sleepover where the kids go to a house and play video games and whatnot. Well, because they are 7th graders they like to stay up all night. And us leaders were not allowed to fall asleep until they did. We made coffee. And of course they wanted coffee. So we gave them decaf. And yes, I know decaf still contains caffeine. But I guarantee them bouncing off the wall saying oh my god caffeine makes me so hyper was 100% placebo. My uncle spiked the punch at my cousin's 15th birthday party after he overheard the kids talking about how cool it would be. Then he had to explain to their parents why they were all hungover the next day. Edit. Added quotation marks. He spiked the punch, as in pretended to add booze, so the kids would think they were getting drunk. Thanks, dear Bill, for pointing out that omission. My uncle was a joker, not a creep. I personally love vodka. I drink it straight, and in college I tended to just carry around a bottle to parties. Anyway, one night I got particularly drunk and finished off a fifth and filled it with water to use as a water bottle for the rest of the night. I got to a party and sat down with some friends, leaving the bottle on the table. We spent a good half an hour watching our souls sneak up to the bottle, check to see if anyone was watching it, and then taking shots from it. You either get drunk people who grimace and think it tasted horrible, or you get drunk people who think that it's the smoothest vodka in the world. Welcome to the end of the video. Do not worry, there are many more. Come aboard for more adventures. Like and subscribe for more posts from the Reddit Rainforest. Thanks for watching.